Welcome to Mindful Moments, where we explore the intersection of holistic wellness, consciousness, and everyday living. I'm your host, and today I'm excited to dive deep into a topic that touches all of us, multiple times a day.
And I'm joining her as we explore mindful eating, reconnecting with your body and soul through food. It's something we all do eat, but how many of us are truly present during this essential act?
Exactly. In our fast-paced world, eating has often become just another task we rush through. We eat at our desks, in our cars, standing up, or while scrolling through our phones. But what if the simple act of eating could become a profound gateway to greater wellness and self-awareness?
I love that perspective. Mindful eating is really about bringing your full attention to the experience of eating, the tastes, textures, colors, and aromas of your food. It's about slowing down enough to notice how food affects your body and your emotional state.
And what's fascinating is that this ancient practice is now being validated by modern science. When we eat mindfully, we activate our parasympathetic nervous system, what's often called rest and digest mode, as opposed to the sympathetic fight or flight response that's triggered when we eat in a stressed or rushed state.
That's such an important point. When we're stressed or distracted while eating, our body actually processes food differently. Digestion becomes compromised because blood flow is directed away from the digestive organs and toward the muscles, preparing us for that fight or flight response.
I've experienced this firsthand. Remember last month when I was rushing to finish that project and eating lunch while staring at my computer? I had terrible indigestion afterward. It was a stark reminder of how our mental state directly impacts our physical digestion.
We've all been there. And speaking of connections between mind and body, the gut-brain axis is one of the most fascinating areas of recent research. Our gut is often called the second brain because it contains over 100 million nerve cells that communicate directly with our brain.
That's right. The vagus nerve serves as a superhighway between our gut and brain, constantly sending signals back and forth. When we eat mindfully, we strengthen this connection, which research shows can reduce anxiety, improve mood, and even enhance mental clarity.
I find it so empowering that something as simple as how we eat can have such profound effects on our mental health. It's not just what we eat, but how we eat that matters.
Absolutely. And for listeners who might be wondering how to begin practicing mindful eating, I'd like to share some simple tips. First, just start with one meal a day. Perhaps breakfast, when many of us have a bit more time.
That's great advice. Start small. Another tip is to put away all devices during that meal. No phones, no TV, no laptops. Just you and your food. And before you begin eating, take 3 deep breaths to center yourself and transition into this mindful space.
I also recommend engaging all your senses. Notice the colors on your plate, the aromas rising from your food, the different textures as you chew, and of course, the symphony of flavors. It's amazing how much richer food tastes when we're truly paying attention.
And chew thoroughly. I know it sounds basic, but most of us don't chew enough. Digestion actually begins in the mouth. And taking time to properly chew not only enhances the flavor experience, but also makes the nutrients more bioavailable to your body.
These might sound like simple steps, but they can be revolutionary when practiced consistently. And they lead us to a deeper understanding that food is more than just calories or nutrients. It's energy.
Yes. From a spiritual perspective, food carries the energy of how it was grown, prepared, and even how we approach it. When we eat with positive intention and gratitude, we're more likely to receive the nourishment in a way that truly serves our bodies.
I've found that saying a brief thanks before eating, whether as a formal grace or just a moment of silent gratitude, shifts the entire experience. It transforms eating from a mechanical process to a sacred act of nourishing the incredible vehicle that carries our soul.
That's beautiful. And it brings up another important aspect of mindful eating, its power to help us with emotional eating patterns. So many of us turn to food when we're stressed, sad, bored, or even celebrating. Food becomes something beyond nourishment. It becomes comfort, distraction, or reward.
And there's nothing inherently wrong with finding joy or comfort in food. The issue arises when we're not conscious of these patterns. Mindfulness gives us that pause, that space between stimulus and response, where we can ask ourselves, am I physically hungry or am I feeding an emotional need?
Exactly. Mindfulness helps us respond rather than react. It lets us check in with our bodies and make conscious choices rather than falling into automatic patterns. I remember a period when I would automatically reach for something sweet whenever I felt anxious about work deadlines.
How did mindfulness help you with that pattern?
It created awareness first, just noticing the urge and recognizing it as separate from physical hunger. Then I could pause and ask myself what I really needed in that moment. Sometimes it was a break, or fresh air, or to talk through what was causing the anxiety. The sweet treat wasn't addressing the real need.
That's such a powerful example of how mindfulness creates freedom. Not freedom from enjoying treats, because life should include pleasure and celebration, but freedom from unconscious patterns that don't serve our highest good.
Absolutely. And what's beautiful about mindful eating is that it's not about restriction or rules. It's about presence and connection with your food, your body, and the entire cycle that brings nourishment to your table.
From the soil and sun that nurtured the plants, to the hands that harvested and prepared your food, to the incredible processes within your body that transform that food into energy and life, it's all connected. And mindful eating helps us experience that connection firsthand.
As we close today's episode, I'd like to invite our listeners to try just one mindful meal today. Notice the difference it makes, not only in your digestion, but in your overall sense of presence and well-being.
And remember this gentle affirmation as you nourish yourself. As I eat with awareness and gratitude, I honor the wisdom of my body and the gift of nourishment. Each mindful bite connects me more deeply to myself and to the web of life that sustains us all.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Mindful Moments. Until next time, may you find presence and peace in the everyday sacred, including your next meal.
This has been Mindful Moments by Pure Healing Goods, wishing you wellness in body, mind, and spirit.